And when you do your weight and height, and once you go back in that room while the other females are waiting to talk to another doctor in another room, he's going to see if you qualified or not to be able to join the military. And so when he called for my name or whatnot, well, before he called my name, I really felt bad for this girl. Because as soon as before he shut the door, he told her, he was like, Miss such and such, I'm sorry, you're, not qualified. And I was like, dang, like, I know she was like feeling salty, but whatnot. And I know she probably really, really, really wanted to join the military, whatever branch, but I know she wanted to join that military branch so bad, but it didn't work out for her. But when it was my turn, when he called for my name, I kind of took a couple of deep breaths and I was like, whew, okay, I should stay calm. Like, you got it. You got this in the bag. So when he called for my name and he set me down, he said, okay, well, Miss Aiken, here's what I want to tell you. Everything looks good, your urine, your blood tests, we were talking to the other doctors, see if you have any health issues, surgeries, or, vision, hearing, all the other stuff. You did good on that. But when we weighed you, you were 2 pounds or 2% body fat over. And I'm kind of like, that's it? Like, but see, I fault the Army recruiter of not weighing me again to make sure I was good. Because in my mind, I kind of figure, I'm like, you know what? It's not right for me to go. But he wanted me to get he was like, yeah, I got you a job. I got a job waiting on for you. I'm going to get you this job. All you got to do is just pass your physical. You'll be good to go, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, as far as listen, sir, I'm just trying to take, the physical, and then I'll decide from there what branch I want to join. I wasn't trying to like swear in the Army right then and there. So, but he was all hyping me up and everything. And I'm like, well, and, at the time, my fiance, well, he was my boyfriend at the time. So he was kind of like, you should just go up there, just do it. He said, because they may shut down MEPS back again. So I was kind of figuring, okay, I need to go back down there and just go ahead and get this out the way so I can say I'm done with it. Only thing I got to do is just decide what branch I want to join. And then, I can decide from there. And that's all I got to do is my swearing, and that's it. So when the doctor told me I was 2 pounds over, it was kind of like I had a month to come back in some days. But I know I had to go back in May to do another not a whole full complete physical. It's just the weight and height process that I had to do over again, I believe. But I called when I came back, when I went back to the hotel, before I went back to the hotel, after I got weight and everything, when the doctor told me, I was 2 pounds over, I went to go talk to liaison, and he was like, oh, well, with your height, with your weight, the only thing that you qualify for is this kind of job. And I'm kind of like, I'm not picking that job. Because I thought I was set to go in for this job. And I didn't know at the time my weight mattered about a job. And then, the liaison, he was kind of cocky anyways. So it was kind of like, okay, forget it. So, went back to the hotel and called the Army recruit up and said, hey, I did good on everything else except for the weight process. And he was like, and I told him, because I think he already knew right then and there. So he was kind of like quiet over the phone. And I'm kind of like, why are you so quiet? And because I told him, I was like, at least it's 2 pounds. Like, I can see if it was 10 pounds or 15 pounds, then yeah, that's something for me to majorly like work on. But since it was 2 pounds, he was still kind of a little upset about it. Like, he was kind of quiet over the phone about it. And I'm like, gee whiz, grow up, So came back to the recruiter's office. You can tell like his face expression was kind of like, I know in the back of his mind he was probably saying, God dog it, Aisha, I had this job set up for you and now you want to blue because you were 2 pounds over. Sir, you better be glad I was just 2 pounds over. whether it's 2 pounds over or under, it really doesn't matter. I mean, I can say that's better than being disqualified, being overweight. So, so he felt a little salty about that, whatever. And I didn't, because I was kind of like, if it's really that important to you to have me to pass the physical and swear in and get a job and pick up just like that. So I started feeling some kind of, mixed feelings, about the recruiter. And don't get me wrong, he was such an awesome recruiter, but I just didn't like his attitude about how, his reactions on after I did the physical. So I told him, I said, hey, all right. So I called him, hit him back up within a couple of weeks later before I had to go back down to be scheduled to go back to MEPS to do my weight and height again. I told him, I said, hey, I was looking into a different branch, blah, 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 or whatnot. So there was a lot of, confusion, in the mix of going on with there, by me telling him I wanted to, switch over to the different branch or whatever, because I want to see what my options were. Now keep in mind, like I said, my ASVAB score, I only qualified for like 3 or 4 medical jobs for the Army. And I don't recall the name of the jobs, but it wasn't the MOS that I was really interested in. So, I thought MEPS was supposed to give you your ASVAB score, and then, or your recruiter can give you your ASVAB score, and you kind of look at the jobs and go from there. So, I told him I wanted to weigh my options out and everything, so he gave me a printout of my score, my score, and I actually caught this, the same following day, I actually caught this Air Force recruiter going into his office, and I told him, I said, hey, where do I start from, trying to apply myself for you guys? And I just want to see what my options are. Well, excuse me. He really couldn't see what my options were based off me telling him what was my ASVAB score. He was saying that they'll have to do what is called a spiff. I think it's called a spiff. So what they do, the Air Force liaison at MEPS, they will grab my medical paperwork, documentation, and my ASVAB score from the Army liaison and pull over to the Air Force. So before he ended up doing, the Air Force recruiter ended up doing that, I just sat down and I just thought about it. Like, took me a while to think about it. I was like, I just want to weigh my options out, see what job, because I really, 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 really did want a medical job so bad. And I figured I, wanted, a medical job. I could be able to get a medical job. So finally I called the Air Force recruiter up, and he was able to do the spiff, and I told him to go ahead and do everything. I was tired of waiting, because I was already waiting to take the ASVAB test for so long, and finally be able to go and do the physical. So I want to say back in July the 8th, I was rescheduled to go back down to MEPS to do an inspection. Now, what the inspection is, for me, it was kind of like a fast process. Like, the only thing, you didn't have to do the full complete physical all over again from scratch, because they still had everything documented into the system. When I did everything when I went, did my physical for the Army. So they kept that on file. So I'm quite sure, if I can remember, the only thing that they did during the inspection, they checked my weight and height. Of course, they measured me, a couple of times around my neck, waist, and hip. I had to do a vision test again, and went into the room and talked to a doctor. He wanted to check my eye, make sure my eyesight are good. Then he also wanted to check my ears. So when he checked, inside my eardrums, I had to kind of hold my nose and then kind of just like blow, so it makes my ear pop. And I didn't pass on both ears. I only passed on one, because one of my ears was like, I won't say full of earwax. And I tried to clean my ear out as much as I could. I think a couple of days before, I had to go back to MEPS to do my inspection. So so he told me, he said, well, you didn't pass one ear or whatever, because the other one was full of earwax and whatnot. So I thought in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm already disqualified. But he was like, no, he said, that's just based off on, see if you qualify for a certain job, like to be on plane or be on a, well, be on a plane or working somewhere up in the air where your ears automatically is going to pop. So that didn't disqualify me for the whole process. It just eliminated me from getting a certain job. So I was kind of like, thank God. Once I was done with that, of course, I had to do a vision test. I had to read out loud. Like what I did when I went to MEPS for the Army. I had to read something out loud in front of a nurse. And then what else? I had to do a urine test. Again, to make sure, if I'm not pregnant or anything. What else I had to do during the inspection? But I mean, it really wasn't that long. It was very quick when I had to do the inspection. I'm quite sure other people, they probably had to go through inspection at MEPS, but that was my experience of transitioning from one branch doing the physical and switching over to a different branch, doing not a full complete physical, but half of a physical. And then after that, everything was done, I went to go talk to a liaison. So he gave me a printout of the jobs or whatnot. And before that, I went to you have to go through what's a background check. So make sure, whether if you had like any speeding tickets or DUIs or whatever, you want to make sure you bring all that to the table. So be prepared for that. So you would go in this other room where, a guy or female, they would, male or female, they would ask you, say, okay, have you had any have you, had a felony and all this other stuff. You had to go through that. I won't say a lie detector test, but you had to go through that. And then once that was completed, they get like results like right then and there, I believe. Or so, I think, or within 24 hours or 40 hours. I couldn't remember. But that didn't turn out too bad. So everything was good on my end from that part. And then trying to figure out something else here. What else? Oh, so I gotta put my phone back up again. Okay, the specialized test as well. I had to, depending on the job too. So I had to kind of like lift some kind of thing. Let me see if I can pull it up and I can kind of see the correct wording. It's not in this phone, it's in my other phone. Well, I had to lift some kind of weight. So it could be from like 10 pound, 20 pound, 30 pound, 40 pound. So you go as far as how much you can, lift, or whatnot, how much weights you can lift. So I think I got to a certain extent to where I could only lift so many pounds of the weight. And he was like, okay, don't strain yourself. You're good. You're good to go. So I was able to do that and make sure I did it the proper way. That also kind of depends on what job, you qualify for in the Air Force too. So like I said, I had to kind of make my ears pop to see. That was also depending on your job. And then lifting the weight, then that also depends on what type of job you can get as well. So, of course, when I went back and talked to the liaison, he kind of questioned me how soon I wanted to leave, and I told him, I was like, well, maybe the first of the year and get through the holidays, with my family and friends and whatnot. And had to put that down. But of course, that doesn't say that, I'll be leaving in the first of the year of January. But I had to actually put a date down. So then I actually had to swear in. So I do know if you're going active duty, you get 2 swear-ins. And if you're going reserve, you only do 1 swear-in. So we had to go in this room. We had to watch a clip. It was maybe like less than 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. And, it was telling you, when you swear in, you're swearing in the oath, and it give you more details about the video when you're swearing in, blah, 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 blah. So, we sit down, we watch that video, and everybody had to line up in a single file line from shortest to tallest. So, of course, I was probably well, it was 2 people that was reserved. So they were in front of me. It was 2 other females in front of me. Then I was the 3rd person of active duty. That was the shortest person in active duty was lined up. So that's how that went for me. So, of course, once you walk through out of that room and going through the swearing room where you're swearing the oath, you go in that room, you all line up like single file line, maybe about 4 to 5 people in a single file line. And then you got like maybe 4 or 5 rows. So you go in, and then a liaison comes in there, and he just kind of talks about, about the swearing in process and how does it work and everything. And so, you guys, when I actually raised my hand, I was nervous to death. I felt like I wanted to walk out and call my boyfriend at the same time. Like, I can't do it. Like, I changed my mind, like, just that quick. And I'm like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Like, this is serious. Like, I should get yourself together. Like, you're doing this and you can't back out. Like, now that you're here now, you came too far to want to back out. So suck it up and do it. So once I got through that part and everything, it's good to go. Went back into the room. Then you had to do a fingerprint. And I think that was electronically. You had to kind of like sign using your fingerprint, and you had to take a picture next to a liaison. At the time, it was an Army liaison. So you had to take a picture, and then at the time on the contract, it kind of confused me where it says 8-year, and I'm like, I'm not signing up for an 8-year contract. I didn't ask to sign up for an 8-year contract. But by me swearing in the first, that's just to say, of course, it'll be changed because at the time I didn't have a job. So how I'm going to sign up for an 8-year contract when I don't have a job? So I do know when I go back, then that's where I have to decide whether if I want to do a 4-year, 6-year contract, and whether my job offer a bonus or not. And you guys, I'm quite sure some people that already sworn in and everything, like, please, well, for people who like new to this and don't know what to expect, because I haven't got to that process yet of going back down to MEPS to do my second swear-in. When you do your second swear-in, please pay attention to that contract, because you don't want to sign something and that's it. That's a done deal. I'm quite sure there is very fine print. It'll tell you something you don't want to see, or you may not end up catch on to, but ask questions. Because if you're signing something and you don't ask questions, that's a done deal. Like, you're signing your life over to whatever or whatever your recruiter hasn't told you. Like, if your recruiter hasn't told you anything about it, do not sign that contract immediately. Do not sign that contract, because you're screwed. So, yeah, like I said, I'm still debating on how many years I want to actually serve the Air Force. So I'm still kind of thinking about it as of right now, up until I have to go back to do my last swear-in. But after that was done, sit back out in the lobby and wait until, the shuttle comes. And like I said, you're waiting forever for the shuttle to come and pick you up, to take you back to the hotel. Or I think take you back, home or whatever, back to the recruiter's office. No, yeah, you don't go back to the hotel. You go back to the recruiter's office, and once you're done with everything. So other than that, but yeah, like I said, you guys, if it's your first time, going to MEPS, don't be nervous. Don't be scared about it. They are there to, talk, trash to you, because you have to get yourself mentally prepared. That's how they're going to talk to you when you go to basic military training anyways. So just be alert, and also be respectful, whether if it's a yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir, at all times. Please make sure you respect your elders. And see, I'm used to that, always respecting my elders, so it's kind of like it's nothing new to me. But I have seen a couple of people got yelled at, just answering, liaison or whoever else is working, at the MEPS station. They're like, yeah, what? And they're like, yeah, what? You mean yes, sir, or no, ma'am, or something like that. So, yeah, please be very respectful. Like I said, also dress nice. Or, not too dressy and not too flashy, but, show up like you're going to an interview. And like I said, just be aware of your surrounding. Like, you want to make sure you pay close attention to certain, because if not, like I said, you're going to get fussed at. So other than that, my experience at MEPS, at the time that I went, it wasn't too busy or too crazy. Everything was kind of just flowing the way how I wanted. Other than that, I did left out the drug screening test, where you had to blow through and this was back in April. Sorry, I left that out early in the video. So you had to blow through one of these things, like a breathable thing, and then you have to kind of like just keep blowing until they say stop. And I think I messed up the first time because I kind of like gave out of breath, and he was like, you got to start over again. And I'm kind of like, oh boy. So I did it again. I was kind of like trying to grasp for air, and I was kind of doing this. I was like, okay, sir, I'm giving out of breath. So he was like, okay, you're good. So I had to go through that. And of course, once you're in that room, one of the liaison, they're going to talk to you about if you lie, or if your recruiter tell you to lie, you can honestly get disqualified right then and there as well. So like I said, you have to check off on the paperwork, whether it's a yes or no, if anything changed or whatnot. Like for me, in the comment below box, I had where the only thing that I said yes to, that I, whatever I actually medical paperwork, or me wearing glasses and contact lens and stuff, I had to put yes to that. So I was good to go. So but from most people, please be honest and please be honest and open to your recruiter, because you don't want to get there and not tell your recruiter. Then when you get to MEPS, you're like, and tell the doctor and say, yeah, I had my wisdom tooth pulled, or I had to get eye surgery, or I had to, get surgery on my back, or I had scoliosis, scoliosis. No, that will disqualify you immediately, because like I said, I have seen a couple of females that got disqualified on the spot, and it was no joke. And I know they were upset at the end of the day and thinking, why I didn't tell my recruiter this. And I decided, because I don't want to get in trouble, because technically I think at MEPS they can fine you if you lie. So please be honest and very truthfully to your recruiter, and tell them whatever you need to bring to the table with that kind of stuff, especially medical documentation. Please, like, you guys, seriously, please. Let me see what else. But like I said, my experience at MEPS, it wasn't bad at all. When I went to go do my inspection, the nurse were nice, and the doctor was nice. So I think I got lucky the second time, because I guess what branch I was joining. But nah, I'm not gonna say all that. But it doesn't matter what branch. But like I said, I remember when I went back the second time, I remember some of the doctors and nurses at the time. They were, there were same people there or whatever, but I got lucky, didn't get the same one, so I was kind of like lucky. But other than that, oh, I know I forgot about something. They check your blood pressure to see if your blood is high levels up or whatnot. And it's funny because my heart was beating fast, and that was the first time when I was at MEPS, when I did my physical with the Army branch. And the nurse asked me, she said, are you nervous? She was like, because your blood pressure is like really high. And I was kind of like, yeah, a little bit. And she was like, what are you nervous for? I'm like, this is my first time here. So she was like, okay, I'm gonna give you a few minutes to kind of, give you, you know, the woosah a little bit, you know, kind of loosen up a little bit. And I'm going to come back in a few minutes. So she came back in a few minutes. I was kind of like trying to put my mind on something else, and I was pretty much good to go. So she was like, okay, good. And she was like, were you nervous? And I was like, yeah, I was nervous. And she was like, oh, it's fine. She said, your day gonna go by pretty well. She said, don't worry about it. It's no biggie. But like I said, I actually had to do a full physical back in April, and then did an inspection in July. So yeah, like I said, MEPS is different for everybody. You know, so, but like I said, throughout the whole process, when I went back the second time, I was kind of relaxed, and I knew I was, you know, getting myself into, and it wasn't a big deal, but it went through, you know, breeze for me. So but you guys, please, like I said, please make sure you get your rest. Make sure, you know, you eat a pretty good decent meal the day of, well, let me backtrack myself. Please make sure you get your rest before the day of. You have to go to MEPS, whether you have to take the test or you have to do your physical, whatever it is. Please make sure you get your rest. You know, please. Also, make sure you eat a good breakfast, because you don't want to go to MEPS but on an empty stomach, because you're going to be waiting all day long. When I tell y'all this is a long process, that was a long process, like no joke. I sit there and I wait, and I kept, you know, at the time I didn't have a watch on me. So of course you have to take all that stuff off. And, you know, but they had a clock near to the desk where all the other people, you know, they were sitting at and stuff like that. So I kept looking at the clock, and I'm like, well, Aisha, that's not going to make the time go by faster, because you keep looking at the clock, and it's like, it's not going to help you. So you're just sitting there, you're just waiting, and then it's kind of like semi-cold in the building. So, and you make sure you wear a long sleeve. Of course, they're not going to let you wear a jacket, because you have to take your jacket off. But make sure you wear a long sleeve, especially like this time of the year, which is November. You know, it can be probably, well, I guess when I went back a couple of months, you know, they did have the AC rolling, you know, in the building. So like I said, to keep yourself comfortable, just wear a long sleeve shirt. If you want to wear a short sleeve shirt, that's fine. But I don't think I wore a long sleeve shirt, but, you know, I highly recommend, you know, you're going to go into a semi-cold building and wear a long sleeve shirt. But you want to make sure you're actually comfortable what you're wearing, you know, if you're going to be there all day, you know, doing the tests and the physical, or either. So, but yeah, that is my experience at MEP, of doing the regular physical and inspection, which I combined together. Because like I said, I went twice. But if you guys like the video, please like, give me a thumbs on that. Give me a good thumb on that. And also, please subscribe if you haven't. It's very important to me in my video. So, yep. But you guys, I am signing out. Peace. Bye.